Hey there, all you beautiful souls. I hope your day has been absolutely fantastic. It's a pleasure to have you back for yet another exciting episode of What If Naruto Was the Descendant of Scorpion. Don't forget to pay a visit to the author of this captivating fanfiction and show them some love. You'll find the link waiting for you down in the description. Uzumaki Naruto sacrificed his life to protect the precious person, but instead of going to the afterlife, Naruto finds himself face to face with the remains of a soul that was locked away deep within his own soul. A soul filled with fury and vengeance of a family and clan that was taken from him. How will this chance meeting change Naruto, and will it be for better? If this what if is sparking your curiosity, drop a comment down below and share your thoughts. And while you're at it, don't miss out on exploring the plethora of other intriguing what ifs available on this very channel. Alright, let's not keep you waiting any longer, let's dive right into this thought-provoking video. Tanzaku Town, Tomb of Shiao Kahn. Uchiha Itachi. The ground in front of the cell exploded and Itachi sprang up from it, his Sharingan flaring to life and his hands bleeding. It had taken him forever to dig out from under his cell, but thankfully, the dirt was loose enough to make his escape possible. After healing his hands, Itachi glanced at the large Solnado and narrowed his eyes at the dead bodies in front of it and the three cultists that knelt amongst the bodies. They had been killing themselves since Rashi had left. It made him sick to see this occur. From the time he was there, he had seen men, women and children being slaughtered by these people, and now, they were feeding this thing that Kisame had been killed by when they were captured. I have to stop them, Itachi thought before he dashed to the final three cultists that held their swords at the chest before he appeared behind them and knocked them out before they could sacrifice themselves. No, Itachi said as he turned to face the Solnado with an angered expression on his face. Time to stop this for Kisame, Itachi muttered before reeled his body and back and shouted. Katan, Gokaku no Jutsu, Fire Style, Grand Fireball Jutsu. Itachi then let forth a huge comet-sized fireball, which slammed into the spiraling Solnado, but it was then swept away in the current of it. Itachi scowled at this and said, Well, I will need to hit this harder. Before he activated his Mangekyo Sharingan. This is going to hurt later, Amaterasu, Gokaku no Jutsu. With a deep breath, a large, comet-sized ball of black flames collided with the Solnado, which caused the tornado of spirits to waver before the flame itself began to move with the Solnado until a large explosion occurred, causing the flames of Amaterasu and the many spirits flew around him. Tanzaku Town. Midarashi Anko. Anko leapt from roof to roof as the aggravated look on her face deepened. Kakashi had ordered her to find any survivors after Naruto's girlfriend had explained the situation, and so far, there was not one single soul in the entire village. Had all of them been killed by this Solnado thing? Anko landed on a light post and said, Damn it, this is some serious shit. I hope the others are holding up okay. Just then, the Solnado exploded, causing a large amount of green orbs to fly all around her before stopping in midair. Just floating around her. What the hell is this? Anko whispered out before she glanced at where the Solnado had been. Well, only one way to find out, Anko said before she made her way to the location. Tanzaku Town. Hatake Kakashi. Hatake Kakashi, the copycat shinobi of Konohagakure no Sato. I've heard of your reputation. It is time to test your mettle, Rashi said with a calm, confident tone in his voice. Kakashi felt a bead of sweat fall down the side of his face as he thought, just my luck, first Han, now Rashi. Naruto is a danger magnet apparently. Sasuke, Haku Sakura, things are going to get really bad. I need you three to get out of here, Kakashi told them as he narrowed his eyes at Rashi. No way, sensei, Sasuke said with a frown on his face. We came here to get the dope and we're going to achieve that mission. I can't leave Naruto-kun on his own, Haku replied with a cold tone. If we have to go through him, I will. Chakra or no. I guess we are all in agreement then, Sakura summed up. Damn it, this is not the time to disobey. Rashi is a very powerful opponent, Kakashi said with gritted teeth. Despite how proud he was that these three wouldn't leave, it would honestly be preferred if they did at this point. I knew I shouldn't have sent Anko to search for any survivors, Kakashi lamented inside of his head before he turned to the group and said, I will fight him alone. Go help Naruto and Hinata. I will help once this battle ends. The three glanced at each other before nodding and running past Kakashi and Rashi and through the flames, leaving Kakashi and Rashi alone. You cannot blame them for being loyal, even if it means their deaths, Rashi told Kakashi. And believe me when I say, their deaths will come swiftly, either by my hand or not in this or any lifetime," Kakashi exclaimed before the two shinobi dashed forward and immediately began battle. Kakashi swayed to the left to avoid Rashi's jab, but Rashi blocked Kakashi's forearm from hitting his face before he pushed Kakashi's arm away and tried to land a left hook, but Kakashi slapped the fist away before the two kicked each other in the chest, which caused the two to separate. Katon, Gokakyu no Jutsu, Fire Style, Great Fireball Jutsu, / Yoton, Shakugaryugan no Jutsu, Lava Style, Scorching Rocks Jutsu. The two chorused out at the same time, causing their respective attacks to clash against one another, causing a massive explosion. Kakashi slid back and as Rashi dashed towards him and delivered a swift right hook while Kakashi landed a solid jab in the face, just as the tornado exploded in the distance. Rashi turned his head to glance at where the tornado should have been with alarm, but Kakashi pulled his attention back to him by landing a kick to his chest. "I'm your opponent here," Kakashi said with an edge to his voice. "You might want to pay attention. Tanzaka Town, Uzumaki Naruto and Hinata." "What the hell?" Naruto asked as he stared at the Kintaro replicant with a surprised look in his eyes. 1 minute, the pair were fighting him, the next, the replicant began to roar in some sort of agony. The replicant fell onto its knees and began to smash its fists into the ground repeatedly, its yellow veins growing thicker. "Hanzo," Hinata said from behind him. Naruto turned around and glanced at her in confusion. "The tornado, it's gone," Hinata told him before she glanced at him. "But the souls, they are still hovering around us. They aren't flying away to the afterlife. Something is seriously wrong here," Naruto said with a frown on his face, but then he noticed that the size of the replicant had become smaller than it was originally, and souls that was in its body began to float from out of it. "Whatever just happened, let's finish this," Hinata told him. Naruto smirked and said, "Hey, let's do it then." The weakened replicant roared in fury as it charged towards Naruto and Hinata, only for the pair to leap into the air above it and kick him in the back of the head. The two landed on the ground with their backs to the replicant, who swiftly turned around and dashed towards the two again. Naruto twisted his body and picked up the Kubikiri Hocho with his feet and kicked it into his hands and said, "Go." Hinata dashed forward with her fans in hand and used one fan to block the right upper fist of the replicant, then kicked the two left arms to the side where Naruto ran up and stabbed the creature in the stomach, which caused the replicant to roar in pain. Hinata then leapt into the air and stabbed the replicant in the eyes with both closed fans before she twisted her body while wrapping her legs around its thick neck and stabbing it on the top of the head before kicking herself off its shoulders. Naruto let out a roar of rage and dragged his blade up the replicant's body but was stopped by its four arms from proceeding upwards. Naruto gave a cruel smirk and ripped his blade out of the creature and kicked it backwards with a hellfire-covered dropkick. The replicant staggered backwards, the wounds it suffered beginning to heal, but Hinata quickly dashed past it while slicing at its left ankle, which sent it down to the ground on one knee, where Naruto then ran forward and landed a hellfire-covered left knee to its face, which sent it down on its back. As he skidded to a stop, Naruto shouted, "Kagebushin no Jutsu," summoning 7 clones beside him and said, "Finish it." The clones dashed forward and each grabbed a limb of the replicant and lifted it up and began to spread it apart. Naruto then launched his blade into the air, where Hinata grabbed the hilt. Naruto then appeared by her side in a burst of hellfire. Together, the two grabbed the hilt of the blade, causing the blade to be covered with Edenian magic and hellfire, and shot down towards the trapped replicant and cleaved through it from hip to hip, causing a large amount of souls to fly from its wounds as it roared in agony until it was in 2 pieces. The clones smirked in success and began to celebrate while Hinata and Naruto panted, their breathing in sync, their bodies pressed against one another. The two glanced at each other for a moment before Naruto said, "Nice work." "Likewise," Hinata responded with a hint of a smile on her face. "Naruto-kun / dope," 3 voices yelled out from behind him. Naruto turned around to see Haku, Sakura and Sasuke running up to him. Haku immediately leapt into his arms for a hug, which Naruto returned with a brief spin before the two shared a soft kiss. "Thank Kami you are safe," she breathed out. "I thought the worst." "You can't keep a good shinobi down," Naruto replied with a small grin as the two separated only for Sakura to slam into Naruto with a tight hug, which made him stumble back before he laughed slightly, not seeing the small smile on Hinata's face nor the small frown on Haku's. "Hey Sakura-chan," Naruto said as he patted her back. "You idiot, what trouble did you get caught up in this time?" Sakura asked as she broke away, a joking smile on her face. That hurts, Sakura-chan. Trouble tends to follow me everywhere I go. Naruto replied with a chuckle on his face. It's good to see you again, Mr. Hero, Sakura told him. Likewise, Naruto replied. He then looked to Sasuke and said, Bastard. Asshole, Sasuke replied as he flipped him off. Good to see you too, Sasuke, Naruto said. Thanks, Sasuke said dryly before he added, You guys defeated the monster, as he eyed down the replicant's body, which was slowly fading away. It was weakened all of a sudden, Naruto explained. But we are not out of the woods yet. We still need to help Kakashi-sensei. Hey, what are all these green orbs around us? Haku questioned. They are souls, Hinata explained as she crossed her arms, eyeing the ice user for a moment with a critical look. These are souls? Sakura exclaimed in surprise before she blinked and said, How do you know that, Hinata-chan? I've seen them before, Hinata responded. Both Naruto-kun and I have. Naruto-kun? Haku repeated, her eyes locking onto Hinata. That's right. You're the one who ran off when I said Naruto-kun was in danger. I would thank you for saving him, but I have a feeling I don't have to. You are correct in that line of thinking, child, Hinata responded coldly. And you must be his beloved. If so, you are nothing much to look at. Child? I'm older than you are, Haku responded, her voice growing colder as well. Unless you're like Naruto-kun, Haku added as she glanced at Naruto. I am, Hinata responded. Does that worry you? Far from worried. In fact, let me get something straight with you before it gets too far, Haku replied. You'll have to kill me to get to him. Got it? Hinata smirked and held out a fan and said, That can be arranged, child. Hinata and Haku glared at one another, but as they did this, Naruto noticed that there was a flicker of sickly green and black aura that seemed to flicker to life around Haku. What was that? Hinata! Haku! Naruto said, snapping the two out of their glaring to look at him. We don't have time for this. We need to get moving to help Kakashi-sensei. Understood, Naruto-kun. The two said in unison, only to glare at each other angrily. That got awfully tense for a second. Sasuke whispered to Sakura, who nodded in agreement. Now let's help Kakashi-sensei, Naruto said before he dashed off through the flames, with the other shinobi behind him. Tanzaka Town. Uchiha Itachi. Itachi watched as green orbs floated around the entire chamber and panted, a stream of blood falling down his eyes. I may have worsened my condition from that alone, Itachi panted out. But it has stopped, Itachi said as he wiped his eyes and said, Now to leave. Uchiha Itachi, a voice rang out. Itachi looked up and saw Anko standing on top of a large column. He was surprised to see a Konoha shinobi here of all places, especially during this type of situation. Anko-san, Itachi said, his voice cool as a cucumber. It's been a while, Itachi, Anko said as she leapt down to stand in front of him. What are you doing here? I was captured by an enemy. Simple as that, Itachi told her. I would normally kill anyone from the Konoha, but I seem to be lacking the energy at the moment. And I would be trying to bring you in, but I'm kinda in a bigger situation right now, Anko replied as she looked around the place. If you are concerned about that green tornado, I have destroyed it. Whatever threat that was going to occur is no longer a concern, Itachi told her as he rose to his feet. Moments later, all of the green souls that floated in the air began to rapidly shoot towards the tomb at such a speed that it caused a fierce wind that would have knocked both shinobi to the ground had they not used their chakra to stick to it. You took care of it, huh? Anko exclaimed to the Nukenin. We need to get out of here, Itachi yelled back. The two quickly turned around and began to run out as fast as they could. Tanzaka Town. UN Hunting Squad. This is far too easy, Tayuya shouted as her shadow energy-covered fist slammed into Moloch's face repeatedly with sharp, crisp jabs, with a green silhouette made of energy following her movements. Just leaving yourself wide dash. Tayuya leaned her right arm back as she ducked a large swing of the replicant. Open for me, Tayuya finished as she landed a hard punch to Moloch's stomach, which caused the big beast to lean forward around in, with a wheeze of pain. Hee hee, Tayuya laughed as she pushed the beast's replicant backwards and continued her ruthless assault on the replicant. This is quite humiliating, Karui noted as she watched Tayuya grab the replicant by the head and slam her knee into its face. Those things caused us a shit ton of trouble and she's beating it down. Karuya explained. That must really suck, Kiba replied as he watched Tayuya slam her elbow into its face. Akamaru growled a bit, which made Kiba look at his small pup in confusion. What's that, Akamaru? What do you mean it's getting smaller? It is, Shino said, agreeing with the puppy Nin. Each blow she lands, more of those green orbs come from its body. Yeah! You whoop its ass! Ino shouted. Tayuya landed a right hook which sent the creature to its knees and she turned around and blew Ino a kiss and said, All for you, sweetie! Before she turned around and landed a devastating roundhouse kick to its head, a green shadow echoing her movements which caused the head to fly off of the replicant's shoulders. Tayuya spun around to as the body fell on the ground and said, Holy hell, that was easier than I thought. Ino rushed up to Tayuya and said, You did great! Tayuya scratched her neck with a small grin and asked, You think so? Oh yeah? You beat that thing's ass. So much so that it was getting smaller with every hit. Ino replied. I'm Yamanaka Ino, by the way. Tayuya Cage. Or Cage Tayuya. Whichever way you prefer. Tayuya replied with a grin on her face. But while that thing was easy, I doubt we are out of the woods yet. Ino opened her mouth to respond, but then her eyes widened in shock. Hey, you alright, Ino-chan? Tayuya asked her. There is something in the air, I can't explain it. Ino replied. There is a large buildup of chakra coming from behind us. It's overwhelmingly powerful. Just then, all of the souls that were floating around them began to shoot down towards where the tomb was held, alarming all of the shinobi present. That is not good, Shikamaru said forebodingly. Tayuya narrowed her eyes and looked to Asuma and Kurenai and said, You two are the top's guns, yeah? We need to get back to Naruto like immediately. Naruto? Why him? Kiba asked. He knows more about this than any of us, Tayuya replied. Now come on. Hold your horses, Anko's voice shouted before she landed in front of the group. I have to lead you there, you know? Who the hell are you? Tayuya asked, trying to keep her gaze on the woman's face instead of on her body. Mitarashi Anko is the name, redhead, Anko said with a grin. Thank goodness you're safe, Kurenai said with a smile on her face, but it was immediately wiped away as Itachi landed behind her. What the hell? Asuma shouted as he held up his fist, ready to strike. Anko-chan! Look out! Kurenai said as she pulled out two kunai and began the motion to throw them. Whoa, hold on! Anko said as she lifted her arms in a placating manner. He's with me. Anko-chan, have you lost your mind? I'm sorry, what? Both Kurenai and Asuma asked in disbelief. Look, I may not be big on the bingo book, but Uchiha Itachi is a known face in it. His bounty is through the roof, Tayuya said, which instantly put the genin behind her on edge. That's Uchiha Itachi? The one that slaughtered his entire clan? Shikamaru whispered to Choji, who paled. Holy shit. This just got worse, Choji replied. He's the one that destroyed the Soulnado and was held captive by these people in some sort of sacrifice to this guy. I know he's a danger, but this is a serious fucking situation, and we will need all the help we can get, Anko said. And I am willing to help, I have a score to settle as well, Itachi replied. After this, however, I will be leaving here alive. We'll see about that, Asuma said before he looked to Anko and said, We'll trust your judgment, but if shit hits the fan with this, you will take all the blame. Please realize that. Fine. Now let's go to the tomb before shit gets even worse, Anko said. Tanzaka Town. Hatake Kakashi vs. Rashi. Kakashi skidded backwards on the balls of his feet and immediately shouted, Doton, Doskiryu, Earth Style, Earth Dragon! And from beneath him, a large brown and gray dragon exploded from the ground and towards the large plume of smoke. But from that smoke, Kakashi heard, Doton, Dorihiki, Earth Style, Mud Wall! And a large wall shot up from the smoke, with the head of a giant gorilla in the middle of it, its eyes glowing in orange red. Rashi smirked and shouted, Yotan Maguma Nagar, Lava Style, Magma Current! The gorilla head opened its mouth and a large stream of lava came shooting out towards Kakashi. Doton, Taju Dorihiki, Earth Style, Multi-Mud Wall! Kakashi yelled before he slapped his hand to the ground, which caused a wall to explode from beneath him and send him into the air, along with two more walls that appeared beside his own, trapping the spewing lava between the four walls. Kakashi watched as Rashi looked at the lava filling the square-shaped opening caused by the four walls before he chuckled and said, "Your speed with casting jutsus are impressive, Kakashi, but it won't save you for long. You'd best reveal your trump card if you want to survive." "You're right," Kakashi said as he lifted up his Haitai, revealing his Sharingan eye. "Now enough with the warm-up. It's time to get serious. Rashi, it is time." Rashi's head snapped up as a victorious smirk appeared on his face. "You are certainly right, Kakashi. It is time to get serious. For the birth of my lord has come to fruition," Rashi exclaimed before he exploded into lava. "That doesn't sound good," Kakashi muttered. It was then he felt it. A large amount of chakra as well as dread. "This doesn't sound good at all," Kakashi said before he leapt down from the wall and landed on the ground, just as Naruto and company ran up to him. "Good to see you again, Kakashi-sensei," Naruto said as the two shared a brief grin. "Likewise, but we have trouble. My opponent just said that the birth of his lord has come to fruition," Kakashi said. Kakashi then saw both Naruto and Hinata pale. "Well, that is not foreboding at all," Kakashi noted before he asked. "Alright, Haku told us of the threat we face. How do you know about this?" "I've seen him before," Naruto said defensively. Before anyone else could speak, the group heard a shout of, "Holy shit, I found you guys!" come from behind them. The group turned around to see Anko land a few feet away from them and then jog up to them. "Anko-san, shadow clone or not, I'm glad to see you are alright," Kakashi told her. "Thanks. Some crazy shit is going down right now," Anko's clone said with a nervous look on her face. "I was searching for survivors when I came upon some tomb. The soul-made tornado was destroyed, but as I was getting ready to leave, all the souls in the air began to rush to the tomb. It could be that Shiao Kahn is going to awaken," Naruto said. "We can't waste any more time, Naruto-kun," Hinata said with a concerned look on her face. "We need to go now." "Can you lead us to the tomb, Anko-san?" Kakashi asked her. "Of course. Let's get going," Anko replied, but while the genin ran ahead, Anko grabbed Kakashi by the wrist. Kakashi looked back at her in confusion, where she immediately explained with, "There is something else. In the tomb, Itachi Uchiha was in there. He was the reason the tornado was destroyed." Kakashi's eyes widened in horror at this turn of events. "What?" Kakashi asked her. "You can't be serious. Uchiha Itachi is here?" "Yeah, I didn't want to mention it in front of your students due to the Uchiha, but yeah, he's with me. We just met up with Kurei-chan's group and I'm leading them to the tomb," Anko answered. "Can I get a why?" Kakashi asked. "Long story short, he's the reason the tornado is gone and why things may have ended up worse. He is teaming up with us for some score, but afterwards, we can bring him in," Anko said. "Very well, but this is your screw-up if things get bad," Kakashi warned, but Anko rolled her eyes and shrugged. "I already got the riot act from Asuma, I got it," Anko replied as the two sped up to the group of genin and quickly took the lead. Tanzaku Town, Tomb of Shiao Kahn. Team 7. As soon as Team 7 reached the tomb, they noticed that the rest of the team was there in front of the tomb. Naruto noticed Taiuya look their way before she did a double take and shouted, "Yo! You're still kicking!" which prompted everyone else to look their way as she ran away from Team 8 and 10 and came their way, with the two teams following. Haku let out an elated scream and ran to Taiuya and hugged her tightly, who looked surprised by the action but returned the hug. "Holy hell, you're actually alive," Haku said as she moved away from her. "Nothing can keep a good bitch like me down, Haku-chan. I thought you knew," Taiuya replied with a grin on her face. "Yep, I'm back and better than ever. And even found more Konoha shinobi to help us out." Taiuya then looked to Naruto and grinned happily. "What's up, Skoruto?" Taiuya said with a grin on her face as Naruto and his group joined Haku, Taiuya and the other Konoha shinobi. "Holy shit, that's Naruto?" Kiba asked. "What the hell happened to Wave that made him look like that?" "Maybe it's the water there," Shikamaru questioned. "He's a total hunk," Ino said, but then saw Sakura and Hinata eyeing him down from behind and added, "But I don't think I want any of that drama." "Are you alright, Taiuya?" Naruto asked. "Never better. Got my ass killed, but I came back better than ever. As you might know," Taiuya said, alluding to his own change. "I see, I think I have a good feeling who you were before just by looking at you," Naruto replied with a nod. "Well, welcome back." "Thanks, Naruto, it's good to be back," Tayuya said genuinely before the two shared a brief hug, but then Tayuya noticed Hinata glaring at her heatedly, and immediately knew who she was. Oh ho 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 ho. What's up, bitch? If I knew you were here, I would have came back faster. I've been dying to kick your ass. You dare speak to me in such a manner, you lowly neophyte? Hinata growled out. Whoa, Hinata-chan, Sakura said with surprise. Where did this hostility come from? Yep, same old princess. Emphasis on the old, Tayuya said, her attention solely on the angered Hinata. I never thought I'd see the day that I would be excited to see you again, but here I am. Are we missing something? Shino questioned. This is a new development on my end, Haku replied. Hinata clenched her fists tightly as her eyes glowing with Edenian magic while Tayuya's eyes flickered with green energy. It seems I was too kind in leaving you gutted by my fans that day, Hinata responded heatedly, her fans appearing in her hands with a flash, her eyes glowing with rage. But I can easily rectify my mistake. Oh ho ho, I'd like to see you try, Tayuya replied. Wow. Someone actually got under her skin. Color me impressed, Haku whispered to Naruto, who stared at the two. Wow. I haven't seen such an intense stare-down since your mother and your father, the Demon Queen said with an impressed air. Tayuya, Hinata, Naruto warned, hellfire slowly drifting from the ground around him, which prompted the two to look at him. Does this look like the time or place for this sort of thing? I know Naruto-kun, but this thing continues to mock me with her foul words, Hinata replied. I'm sorry, did you just say? Kick my ass, Tayuya responded, which prompted Hinata to return her gaze to Tayuya angrily. I didn't realize you two knew each other, Tayuya-chan, Haku said to the redhead. Tayuya looked to Haku and replied, Damn right, Haku-chan. This bitch and I have a long history that I would love to end right fucking now. Tayuya then noted the dark look on Naruto's face and quickly added, But we have a bigger issue to deal with right now. Tayuya then looked at Hinata and held out her hand and asked, When Shiao Kahn is beaten, we will settle our score. Until then, truce? Hinata stared at the hand and said, Truce for now, as she shook Tayuya's hand briefly, but then Tayuya pulled Hinata close until they were chest to chest with a serious look in her eyes, with Hinata returning the glare. You're mine after this, Tayuya whispered. You wish, Hinata replied before the two broke away. I hate to interrupt this pissing contest, Asuma said with a frown, but we have an enemy to deal with. He's right, Kurenai said. There is so much more going on that we need to handle. She is correct. Itachi's voice rang out from behind them, causing the entire group to turn around to see Anko and Itachi standing side by side. Uchiha Itachi, Kakashi breathed out. You monster! Sasuke screamed out as he immediately launched himself towards Itachi, but then an explosion of chakra was felt. Seconds later, a beam of red light flew from the ground and pierced the sky, causing the clouds above to part to reveal the starry sky before it faded, becoming blood red in color where a pulse of red chakra flew through the city, destroying every single building it came past and knocked over the group of shinobi onto their backs. Kakashi rose up from the ground after a moment and yelled, Everyone alright? I think I broke my ass, Kiba responded as he stood up and then added, But I'm alive. For now anyways, Shino muttered as he rose to his feet as well and helped Carrie up to her feet. Thank you, Carrie said. Shino nodded in response. Sasuke rose to his feet and saw Itachi rising to his and immediately ran to his older brother and punched him in the face without hesitation. Sasuke, this is not the time, Kakashi yelled. Shut up! This is the only time, Sasuke yelled as he turned to Itachi and grabbed his jacket. You made my life a living hell after killing our clan. You're still weak, Itachi said, blood falling from the side of his lip. Shut up! Sasuke yelled as he raised up his fist, but then Naruto grabbed it, which prompted Sasuke to turn to face him. What are you doing, dope? Let me go! This is not the time, Sasuke, Naruto said. This is none of your concern, let me go. This is between me and the one who took my life from me, Sasuke shouted. I know, Sasuke, Naruto told him softly. I know how much rage is building up in you. I have felt it as well. I drowned in that rage and it led me down a very dark path that in turn led to a lot of misery. You don't want to go down that path, Sasuke, believe me. Sasuke knew Naruto well enough to know that he was speaking the truth. The dope was always truthful with whatever he said, but when Sasuke looked up at Naruto's face, He saw understanding and kindness in the blonde's eyes. Something that Sasuke had never seen in Naruto's eyes before. Naruto, Sasuke said, feeling the rage leave him, a brief lost expression appearing on his face. This face, the last time I saw this face was on Takeda, Naruto thought to himself with a frown. I know you want revenge, but we need to focus on the task at hand, and that is stopping Shiao Kahn. Once we do, then we will revisit this matter. Alright? Sasuke looked back to Itachi and felt the rage build up, but he nodded. Naruto was right. There were more pressing matters to deal with, and as much as he wanted to kill Itachi, the world had to be saved first. Sasuke stood up on his feet and looked to Naruto with a confused expression as he said, "Thanks." "You don't have to thank me," Naruto replied before another pulse of red energy shot from the tomb into the air. It was then the entire group was hit a wall of bloodlust, which sent most of the genin to their knees from the sheer force of it. There is so much bloodlust. It's as thick as a tsunami, Kyuubi murmured. Naruto narrowed his eyes as a final beam of red energy exploded into the air before a red wave of energy expanded from out of the beam, causing both the tomb as well as every building in Tanzaku town to crumble under its might. But despite the wave of energy slamming against the group, Naruto could see two figures walking in the wave of energy. As the figures grew closer, Naruto could feel the heavy footsteps stepping against the ground, and when they came into view, Naruto got a good look at the pair. Standing beside Rashi was a large, towering muscular man with a hint of blue skin and dark blue hair along with curved facial markings under his eyes, gills on his shoulders along with various glowing red scars on his body. With a prominent glowing crimson scar on his chest with black baggy pants and black chains wrapped around his hands and forearms. And resting on his shoulder was a large blade covered in wrappings, crimson energy flowing from it. Itachi managed to see the person beside Rashi as well and shouted, "Kisame, you're still alive!" The male smirked, showing his sharp triangular teeth. You think I am the shark man? Unfortunately for you, he or his sentient blade was no match under my might. Do not fret, their souls are right where they belong. In my veins. Shiao Kahn, Naruto hissed out. I thought it was true, but the ninja specter himself, the firefly, is in my presence once again. Younger and more human than before, but there is no doubt you are him. Shiao Kahn said with a chuckle before he glanced at Hinata, who stood up on her feet. And you brought my daughter along with you, truly a wonderful day. Shiao Kahn laughed as he spoke, which caused a deep look of hatred to appear on Hinata's face. I am no daughter of yours, Kahn! Hinata exclaimed. No matter how much you deny it, I will always be your father. Shiao Kahn stated before he looked to Taiyuya and said, and last but not least, the child of the movie star and general, and the one to defeat Shinnok, the failed elder god. Quite the resume. How the hell do you know that? Taiyuya shouted. I know about all of you. From the moment you stepped foot in this village, I knew who you all were. But to see three of those from my world in front of me fills me with the knowledge that Outworld still exists as well, and... What the hell are you talking about? Kakashi shouted. I don't know who you think these three are, but they shinobi of this world. They have never been anything but that. Oh? You all do not know, then allow me to reveal all. Consider it a gift before your souls become mine. Shiao Kahn said before he lifted at his right arm. Without warning, Naruto's form began to shift like the sand itself, forming into a taller figure before it dispersed, revealing a figure who wore a long leather-made hood that was attached to the leather-strapped sleeveless shirt that sat beneath a black vest that held a yellow-colored tunic on top of it along with a hard yellow mask on his face. The figure also wore a pair of black gauntlets with brown leather straps around the wrists, the middle of the forearms, and the top of the forearm of the gauntlet along with another brown leather strap around his right bicep, baggy black pants with brown strapped belt around his waist. But the most damning was his glowing white iris-less eyes that was barely visible by the hood on his head. Naruto-kun? Sakura stammered out as Naruto looked at himself. It can't be, Naruto said, his voice rougher and deeper than before. Like Naruto, Hinata and Taiyuya had changed as well. She also wore a wrapping around her breast and back along with royal blue thin strap on top of the wrapping that had gold and royal blue armor on top of the straps, long royal blue gloves with steel armor going up her arms to the golden armor shoulder pads. There was black wrapping around her waist with a brown wooded belt around the black wrapping, baggy royal blue pants with the sides cut off, showing her outer thighs with knee-high black boots. And her hair no longer midnight blue, it was black and it was done up in two buns and a ponytail, all held together by two chopsticks with a gold medallion on her forehead, but her eyes were the same lavender hue. Holy shit, Hinata? Kiba shouted. What is going on? Kurenai said as Hinata looked down with shock in her eyes. And Tayuya was now a pale-skinned blonde girl, sunglass, skin-tight yoga pants that read Cassie on each side in white, and a sky blue tank top that was beneath a white hooded jacket with sky blue lines on the short sleeves, along with white wrappings around her forearms, and light blue MMA gloves and white/light blue sneakers. Whoa, this is so fucking strange, Kiba exclaimed. What the hell is going on? Asuma exclaimed. These are the faces of your beloved shinobi, Shiao Kahn said as the group looked at Naruto, Hinata and Tayuya with shock and horror in their eyes. Ruins of Tanzaku Town. Team Konoha, with Itachi. How did you do this, sorcerer? Kidana shouted with fury in her voice. Standing amongst the group of Konoha stunned shinobi were the enraged forms of Kidana, princess of Iniya, and Hasashi Hanzo, known as Scorpion, while the amused form of Cassie Cage, defeater of the fallen elder god Shinnok, stood beside them. I merely showed your compatriots who you three really were behind your reincarnated bodies, Shiao Kahn explained. I think you made a mistake then, Cassie said with a glint in her eye. You gave us back our original strength with changing us back. Oh, you silly girl, Shiao Kahn chuckled out. I am not foolish enough to do that. I am merely revealing your true selves through an illusion. You are not in your real bodies. But why? What do you have to gain by doing this? Kurenai questioned. Shiao Kahn merely smirked and raised his right hand. To sow chaos amongst your ranks, he said before he snapped his fingers. All around the shinobi, a sphere of images appeared around them, and on the images showed the various past of Scorpion, Kidana, and Cassie. Kakashi, Anko, Sasuke, Haku, and Sakura looked at an image of Scorpion, who was currently engaged in fierce combat with Sub-Zero in what looked like hell. Kurenai, Kiba, and Shino watched an image of Kidana standing beside Shiao Kahn with an emotionless expression on her face as she watched an opponent's soul being taken by the powerful warrior. Asuma, Ino, Shikamaru, Karui, and Choji watched on as Cassie Cage battled Kidana in a fierce battle, with various wounds on their bodies. Konoha Shinobi, these are the three you are loyal to. The three that have hid their true identities from you. From a ruthless clan leader of the Shirai Ryu turned hellish specter, to an assassin and princess of our world, to a cocky blonde that lucked her way into defeating a god. Do you want to form an alliance with a trio of liars? Shiao Kahn asked. These images, Sakura noted, turning away from Scorpion taking off the head of Quan Chi. These are true, aren't they? You really did those things? They are, and I did, Scorpion confirmed. How did this happen? Sakura asked. On the bridge I had died. Killed by your hand to save Haku's life. I met with my soul. Something like this wasn't supposed to happen. In order to save both of our souls, we combined into one, Scorpion explained. Sakura stared into the shinobi's eyes, and while they were bright white, there was something familiar in them. Something that made her feel safe and warm. Sakura walked forward and placed her hand on Scorpion's chest, right where his heart lay, much to Team 7's and Haku's surprise. I had a feeling something was different about you, Sakura said. But to know that your soul was combined with someone so vicious, and admittedly, it scares me to know you are capable for something so violent. Sakura then gave him a bright smile. But despite this, I can see you through this image. I can still see the goofball blonde that caused pranks and caused massive chases in our village. I can see the shinobi that saved our lives on the bridge. I can see the shinobi that saved Wave and Hisako from danger. I see you, Uzumaki Naruto, and that is all that matters to me. Sakura, Scorpion whispered. Well, that was a rather impassioned speech, Kakashi said with a chuckle. I must say, this has thrown me off, but that doesn't change anything for me either. Thanks, Kakashi-sensei, Scorpion replied. Anko licked her lips and turned to Scorpion and said, Phew, seeing you bathed in the blood of enemies has got me all hot and bothered. To think you have that as a past life. Only shows me how much of a catch you'll be in the future, Gaki. Thanks, Scorpion said with confusion. Sasuke remained silent for a moment, staring at the image of Scorpion training his student Takeda. I can't believe this guy is you dope, but if that is the case, I can somehow see it as well. Sasuke then chuckled and said, I wonder what other secrets you could have. Scorpion chuckled before he looked to Haku. I agree with Anko-san, you are certainly sexy both as Naruto and Scorpion. She was also right that you are a catch, Haku said. I don't have some sort of speech like Sakura-san or blatantly horniness like Anko-san, but seeing you overcome your past mistakes to be who you are now makes me realize that you are so much stronger than I thought before. Thank you, Haku-chan. All of you. It means a lot to me that you guys see me for me and not for who I used to be, Scorpion said. But still, he is crafty to throw this our way. He's trying to break us apart to make it easier for him to defeat us. Kakashi and Anko nodded in agreement. Then we should beat his ass, Anko said with a determined smirk. Scorpion smirked as well. Meanwhile, Kitana stood in silence as Kurenai, Kiba and Shino stared at her. So this what triggered your change, Kurenai said. You awakened your other part of your soul. That is correct, Kitana replied. It happened when we found my fans. I had a feeling the fans were the catalyst for your change in behavior, Shino noted. But for this to occur, it certainly turns my life upside down. Dude, seriously. How awesome is this? Kiba exclaimed. Naruto's a badass shinobi from hell. You're a princess and an assassin and a cute blonde over there defeat a fallen elder god, whatever that is. We are so going to win this battle. You don't care if I am like this? Kitana asked him. Fuck no! You're like my baby sister, Kiba said with a smile. I couldn't be mad at you even if I tried. Besides, are you seeing your past here? You're totally badass. I can't hate on that. Kiba-kun, Kitana whispered. I agree with Kiba, Shino said. Princess of our world or whatever it is named or princess of the Hyuga clan. It matters not. You have been our friend since we were children and to be fair, we are worse than friends. We're family and we look out for one another. Shino-kun, Kitana said. Well, looks like I was beaten out in speeches. You're still Hinata in my eyes. Stronger, faster and with a lot more refined but still our Hinata. Kurenai finished with a smile on her face. Thank you, Kitana said as she bowed to the three. There's our Hyuga princess, Kiba said with a grin. Meanwhile with Cassie, she was currently flexing her muscles as Ino watched with large eyes, a blush on her face. Take it all in, baby. This is all me, Cassie said with a grin on her face. Wow, you're simply amazing. So what is an elder god and how did you defeat one? Shikamaru asked. Well, from what Raididi, that's Raiden, god of thunder, told me, the elder gods are the supreme omnipotent deities of the universe. Whereas other gods only have jurisdiction over a single realm and typically represent an element, the elder gods are more ethereal and have power in all realms and universe. Shinnok was a salty-ass scrub who got booted from the elite club. He decided to throw a bitch fit and try to take over all the realms. My parents defeated him. They sound very strong, Carrie said. They were, Cassie said with a soft smile. They were the best. My mom says I take after my dad a lot. The famed actor Johnny Cage, or as many of opponents knew him as, Talk McNutshot. Why did they call him that? Ino asked. You'll see when we boot this wannabe god, Cassie said with a wink. Years later, way after I was born, Shinnok came back and tried his stupid plan again, nearly killing us all. Kitana was a part of that gang. Me and her had a shit ton of battles. She nearly killed my ass last time, but I won out, beat the fuck out of Shinnok and saved my world. That is awesome, Choji exclaimed. You must be super strong then to defeat a fallen elder god. My dad liked to think so. He actually decided to retire from being a fighter. Same with mom, too bad I couldn't live up to their expectations, Cassie said, her voice become softer. But, Cassie perked up. I am back now and I get another shot to make things right, and with help from those two over there, we will beat Shiao Kahn without anyone dying or die trying. Asuma narrowed his eyes at her and said, I may be seeing the proof, but I still can't believe a fighter such as yourself saved your realm. Believe it or not, I don't give a fuck, Cassie said. You're watching me do it now, and you will again in a sec. It is truly unbelievable that you three are from a different realm, Itachi said, his voice catching the attention of all the present shinobi. However, I believe we need to save all the talking for later. The sphere of images faded away, which also caused Scorpion, Kitana and Cassie's images to fade away, revealing Naruto, Hinata and Tayuya once again. And while the group was glad to see these three again, they also became on edge when they saw Shiao Kahn's amused expression. So hearing all of the responses, I assume you all are willing to die with these three? Shiao Kahn questioned. Sorry to disappoint you, but there is no way in hell we're turning our backs on these guys, Kiba shouted. Took the words right out of my mouth, kid, Anko replied. We're all in agreement then, Kakashi said. My apologies, Shiao Kahn. Shiao Kahn chuckled, and with a flash of crimson energy, he appeared in the middle of the group. Holy shit, he moves fast! Anko shouted. A pity, I do sense a ton of potential in all of you. Such a shame to cut that short, Shiao Kahn said before he twisted his body and aimed his blade towards Sakura, but Naruto pushed her out of the way just as the blade was going to cut her, and clashed his blade with Kahn's. You have to be quicker, Firefly, Shiao Kahn stated before he pushed Naruto's blade to the side and kicked him in the chest, sending him skidded past his teammates and into a stone pillar. Shiao Kahn then twisted his blade and blocked Taiya's energy-covered fist and smirked. Nice try. Before he pushed her hand away and aimed a palm at her chest, but with a burst of green energy, his hand stopped inches from hitting her chest. Taiya then smacked the hand away and landed a hard fist in the middle of Kahn's face, but to her shock, he chuckled against her fist. You must do better, Cage. I am far stronger than that old corpse Shinnok, Shiao Kahn said before he smacked the hand away, grabbed her by the head and threw Taiya in the direction Naruto had been kicked. He then turned around to shield himself from the Hinata's Edenian fans before he dashed towards and tried to cleave her in half, but Hinata rolled to the side and leapt up to aim a knee to his head, but Shiao Kahn caught her knee and smirked. You must be stronger, my daughter. Your quickness can only get you so far before someone faster and stronger comes along, Shiao Kahn said before he pushed her knee away and punched her hard in the face, sending Hinata crashing to the ground before he reared his leg backwards to kick her. With a flicker, Kurenai appeared in front of Hinata and caught the leg, while Anko and Kakashi flickered in the air on his sides and aimed a kick at his face, but Shiao Kahn let out a roar, causing a powerful wave of crimson energy to explode from his body, sending the four away from him. Kakashi and Anko landed in a crouch before they dashed forward, kunai drawn in each hand while Kurenai helped Hinata to her feet. Are you alright? Kurenai asked. I will be once we kill him, Hinata muttered angrily before the two dashed after Kakashi and Anko. Asuma went to give chase after the four, but he was stopped by a large wave of lava that seemed to reach the sky. Asuma, Itachi and the rest of the genin turned their heads and looked to Rashi, who said, Sorry, your fight is with me. Ruins of Tanzaku Town. Konoha Shinobi vs Shiao Kahn. Doton, Doskiryu, Earth Style, Earth Dragon! Kakashi shouted as a dragon made of mud and stone exploded from the ground and towards Shiao Kahn, who smirked and used his blade to cleave the dragon in half. Anko flickered in front of Shiao Kahn and aimed a kick at his head, but the large warrior allowed it to hit the side of his head, a smirk still on his face. Weak, Shiao Kahn said, then grabbed the leg and twisted his body and slammed her into the ground, hard enough to cause spiderwebbing cracks against the ground. He then slammed his foot against her chest, making her gasp in pain, and lifted up his blade only to turn it downwards, a smirk on his face. And the first one falls, Kahn said, but Naruto's hellfire-infused knee slammed into face, whipping his head to the left while Anko simultaneously grabbed the warrior's foot and used her chakra to push him off of her, causing him to fall to the ground. Doton, Dorihiki, Earth Style, Mud Wall! Kakashi shouted, causing a mud wall to explode from the ground Shiao Kahn laid on, sending him into the air. Hinata leapt into the air and used her Edenian magic to bounce diagonally through the air until she was above the large wall, and with a shout, she slammed both knees into Shiao Kahn's face and used her magic to propel her body, sending them both through the wall and slamming into the ground. Hinata flipped off of Kahn's body and pulled out her fans, but Shiao Kahn grabbed her wrist and swung her off of him and into the ground above him, causing spiderweb cracks against the ground. Shiao Kahn swiftly rolled onto top Hinata and picked her up off of the ground and landed two brutal blows to the right side of her body before releasing her wrist, and landed several blows to her face and torso before finishing it off with a hard kick to the chest, sending her flying backwards into Kurenai. Kurenai caught the kunoichi and immediately began to heal her while Naruto and Kakashi dashed past her, Kakashi with his Chidori in his right hand while Naruto with Hellfire in his right. The two shouted and launched their respective attacks to Shiao Kahn, but to their shock, he caught both hands. He smirked. You both must realize it's going to take a lot more than this to top me, Shiao Kahn taunted before he pulled their bodies forward sharply while simultaneously releasing their fists, only to clothesline them both, sending their bodies into the air before they crashed to the ground. Shiao Kahn then leapt up and landed hard on their chests, causing them both to wheeze out in pain before he leapt up again to repeat his actions. But without warning, a shout of Kuchios no Jutsu, Seniai Tajashu, Summoning Jutsu, Many Hidden Shadow Snake Hands, reached his ears, and soon found his body wrapped by pale red snakes coming from out of Anko's jacket sleeves. Got you! Anko shouted as she pulled Shiao Kahn away from the two downed shinobi and towards her, where he fell onto his knees. Bite his ass! Anko commanded. The snakes opened their mouths, their fangs giving a brief shine before biting down on Shiao Kahn's skin, causing blood to dribble down his body, but he still held a cocky expression on his face. Puny reptiles can't hold me back, Shiao Kahn muttered. Anko smirked, and then took a deep breath and shouted, Katan, Ryuka no Jutsu, fire style, dragon flame jutsu! She blew out an intense fire that covered the snakes and flowed down to Shiao Kahn, encasing his entire body in flames. Fireproof snakes. They never see it Kodash. Anko's gloating quickly died in her throat as Shiao Kahn roared from the blazing fire around him, causing crimson waves of energy to explode from his body, evaporating the snakes that bound him and snuffing out the flames. And there was not a single mark on his body. Shiao Kahn quickly dashed to Anko and clotheslined her hard, sending her body to the ground, where he then wrapped his hand around her head, picked her up and twisted his body to slam her into the ground hard, causing the earth to splinter and rise from the hard impact. Shiao Kahn lifted Anko off the ground and released her before he reared his left arm back, then whipped it forward, but before his uppercut could strike her, Naruto flickered in front of her and blocked his fist with his forearms. Firefly, Shiao Kahn said with a cocky grin. Naruto sneered and pushed the fist down and slammed his right fist against the warrior's face, tilting his head back, but Naruto could feel Shiao Kahn's smirk against his fist. Naruto reared his hand back and aimed another fist at the man's torso and followed it up with a punch to the left side of Kahn, but as Naruto aimed a hellfire-infused punch to his chest, Shiao Kahn caught the hand. Shiao Kahn then whipped his head forward and headbutted Naruto hard, making the shinobi stagger back, but he managed to shake off the blow quick enough to duck a jab from Kahn and retaliate with a knee to the man's chin. Naruto then twisted his body and landed an elbow against the top of the man's head, but Kahn grabbed the front of his jacket and turned his body and slammed Naruto into the ground, causing the earth to rise around him. Goodbye, Firefly, Shiao Kahn said as he released the hold and shot a crimson-colored orb at Naruto's chest and fired it. Naruto caught the orb, but the force behind it was so strong, it caused Naruto to skid across the ground before he rose out of the ground and into the air. Naruto let out a yell and managed to push himself out of the trajectory of the orb just as it exploded, sending him soaring down to the ground at quick speeds and slammed into the ground hard. Shiao Kahn turned around to face the still downed Anko, but Kakashi flickered in front of her, his Sharingan revealed, and shouted, Katan, Gokakyu no Jutsu, fire style, great fireball jutsu! A large ball of flames engulfed Shiao Kahn's body and flew up into the air, where it exploded, but floating within the smoke, Shiao Kahn's body was seen floating within the smoke. Fuck off with that, Kakashi said before he formed seal and shouted, Kagebushin no Jutsu, Shadow Clone Jutsu! 4 clones of Kakashi appeared beside him, and the 4 quickly formed several hand seals. Suetun, Suryuden no Jutsu, Water Style, Water Dragon Jutsu! The first clone shouted. Doton, Doskiryu no Jutsu, Earth Style, Earth Dragon! The second clone shouted. Raitun, Ikazukiryu no Jutsu, Lightning Style, Lightning Dragon Jutsu! The third clone shouted. Kaitun, Hiryu no Jutsu, Fire Style, Fire Dragon Jutsu! The fourth clone shouted. Futon, Kaze no Ryu no Jutsu, Wind Style, Wind Dragon Jutsu! Kakashi shouted. The 5 dragons shot out from the mouths of the respective owners and flew towards Shiao Kahn. The 5 Kakashi then formed several more hand seals and shouted, Danketsu, Genso Ryujin no Jutsu, Unity, Elemental Dragon God Jutsu! The 5 shouted in unison. The 5 dragons combined into one large dragon that took the size of a hurricane, its eyes flowing ethereal blue as the 5 elements swirled around its body. Dragons, more like worms beneath my feet! Shiao Kahn shouted as crimson energy flowed from his body like mist before forming into a solid orb around his body. Shiao Kahn let out a roar as he dashed down towards the large elemental dragon. The dragon roared and flew towards Shiao Kahn, and then the 2 forces clashed in the sky, causing a massive explosion that seemed to shake the earth. But to the shock of Kakashi, the dragon began to glow crimson before it exploded, revealing Shiao Kahn's body, which was charging straight towards him. The 5 clones instantly stepped in front of Kakashi and leapt into the air to slow down the orb, but the clones seemed to evaporate upon contact with the orb, leaving Kakashi unguarded as the orb rammed into him and into the ground, causing the earth to splinter and then explode around them. Kakashi let out a yell as crimson electricity streaked across his body repeatedly, as the orb pushed him further into the ground before grinding across the ground and slamming into 3 destroyed buildings. Shiao Kahn dashed out the orb and landed on his feet and watched as the orb, with Kakashi wrapped around it, flew higher into the sky, but then an emerald ball slammed into the crimson orb, causing it to push the orb away from Kakashi and explode in the air. "Not finished yet, asshole!" Tayuya shouted as she dashed towards Shiao Kahn, emerald shadows following behind her, and slammed her elbow into his stomach. The emerald shadows then collapsed into Tayuya's form, each one doubling and then tripling the power of her blow until the last one melded into Tayuya, sending Shiao Kahn skidding backwards against the ground. Tayuya then delivered a side kick, her emerald shadows following suit, but Shiao Kahn stepped to the side to avoid it, and then raised his arm to block her elbow before he tugged her elbow back and slammed his forearm in the middle of her face, sending Tayuya to the ground. Tayuya flipped to her feet and ducked a jab from Shiao Kahn only for Hinata and Kurenai to leap over her and deliver a drop kick to Shiao Kahn's face while Tayuya slammed her shoulder into his stomach, which made Shiao Kahn skid against the ground briefly. Naruto then flickered behind him and wrapped his arms around the man's waist and yelled as he picked the man up and slammed him down onto the ground backwards, slamming Kahn onto his back. Shiao Kahn rolled backwards and landed on his knees, but Kurenai's left met his face, sending him skidding backwards. Shiao Kahn rose to his feet only to catch the feet of both Naruto and Tayuya, but it left his torso open for Hinata to aim a strike at his stomach, but Shiao Kahn lifted up his leg and blocked the strike with his left knee. Shiao Kahn gripped the legs of Naruto and Tayuya and swung Tayuya down to the ground and then slammed her into Hinata, sending the two flying to the side before he launched Naruto into the air and shot a small crimson orb at him. Naruto disappeared in a burst of hellfire, and then appeared behind Shiao Kahn and slammed his fist against the man's spine, but Shiao Kahn turned around and punched Naruto in the face, but Naruto instantly retaliated with an hellfire-infused uppercut. Shiao Kahn staggered backwards and sidestepped 2 jabs before catching the 3rd jab and pulling Naruto close into a knee strike to the gut before pushing Naruto back and kicking him in the chest, sending Naruto flying backwards. Naruto recovered, however, and pulled out a kunai and stabbed it into the ground to slow his flight down and fell to one knee, blood dribbling down his lips. "This guy is very strong. His blows feel like they're striking me," Kyubi said with a frown on her face. "You guys are throwing everything you have, and yet he doesn't have a scratch on him." "Yeah, not only that, he's very quick as well. Back then, he was slow but could absorb a lot of damage. Perhaps the body he is in now is faster, damn it. There must be something we can do," Naruto exclaimed as he rose to his feet. "Overload him," Kyubi replied. "Overload him?" Naruto questioned as he stared at the man, who was currently dodged every blow Tayuya, Hinata and Kurenai was throwing at him. Naruto summoned several clones and motioned for them to help the 3 kunoichi while he stayed behind to listen to Kyubi. "You sense his power. It is enormous, but each blow he takes is chipping away at it. After Anko's and Kakashi's jutsu, it took a large chunk of his power. It's slowly been dwindling. If we can override that power, we may have a chance to actually start hurting him," Kyubi explained. "That is a heavy thing to ask. It's dwindling, but I still can't see the end to his power all the same. I still don't have all of the abilities of my Spectre self, and even if I did, I would need more power to dent the iron that is his power," Naruto thought. I know what must be done for you to achieve not only the power of your past life but the power to defeat him, but it comes with a cost," Kyubi said softly. "Which is?" Naruto asked. But Kyubi remained silent for a moment, as if she was afraid of answering him, but the moment passed with her sigh. "The last time you became angry, you became at risk of losing your soul to it, but behind that anger, your power skyrocketed. You need to be brought to that point." "But how can that happen?" Naruto asked. "The thing with the Sandaime will not bring me back to that level." He could feel the sadness coming from Kyubi when he said this, and at that moment, he felt a strong sense of foreboding. "I wish we could have trained you sooner to do this," Kyubi said with a regretful tone. "I know. How long will it take to do what needs to be done?" Naruto asked her. "It will take some time, but I can get it done," she replied emotionlessly. "Then I will give you that time," Naruto said, but when he tried to stand up, he found himself unable to move. "Kyubi, why can't I move?" Naruto asked her, but he only received silence. "Kyubi? Kyubi?" Naruto shouted, panic beginning to fill his heart. "Kyubi!" Thanks for listening. I do hope you enjoyed. If you want the next part of this video, like, subscribe and comment down below, and turn on the bell notification. And also check out other videos that I have created and enjoy. See you in the next video. Peace.